Hey guys, welcome to another interview with the No Pants Academy. Today I'm joined by Stef Negrin. She is a digital strategist, Facebook consultant, sales funnel builder, all around marketing genius. We're going to dive into all of that. But first, Stef, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to talk to your crew.
So how did you get started in building funnels and this overall just digital marketing as a whole?
So, as many of the people that are probably watching, I was in a 9 to 5 that I did not have a passion for. I actually had jumped around careers for like 6 times in the span of 5 years. I was in retail, law, real estate. I ended up working at a Starbucks. So, like all these different career paths. And at the end, I felt like each promotion was going to make me happy. But in the end, I saw like my bosses being stressed out, missing on family time, deadlines and staying past, closing time to finish. So I was like, why am I really fighting for those things? Why am I pushing so hard for that? There has to be more, right? So I ended up seeing a webinar from a really well-known influencer, and she was talking about Pinterest. And I said, that's pretty awesome. Like, what do I need to know about Pinterest? So I started buying all these courses, not knowing exactly what to do with all this information I was grabbing. And I was like, okay, well, now that I've like spent, thousands of dollars on these courses just to like have this knowledge, like what do I do? So I decided to use that information and turn it into a social media management agency, because I was already seeing the growth of people asking, how do you get that many followers on Instagram? How do you, grow a following on Facebook? So I had previous side hustles that led to that as well. I had a jewelry line and YouTube making content creation business. So that's kind of like what led me to like the crossroads. So I opened the doors to my social media management agency. I changed everything on Facebook, on LinkedIn to like announce, this change. I started connecting with people on LinkedIn, and within like the second day, I got a client for a $750 per month retainer, which was amazing to me. I was like, that, being your first time making income online and it being that amount, I was like, this is like amazing to me.
Yeah.
So that kind of led into finding out more marketers doing different things, buying a Facebook ads course that also had funnels built into it, learning about ClickFunnels. I had seen, Russell Brunson's ads before, but I was like, that's really, outside of my league right now. Like I can't afford that. So I started small, right? But that growth continued to happen over time, those stepping stones of like, now I finished one course, let me put that into action, buying the next one and the next one. So that kind of led me into this place where I was at my 6th career change at this point. And I said, you know what, something's got to give. Like I'm making more money at home. I'm doing the 9 to 5 and then the 6 to 9 afterwards. Like I'm hustling and grinding every day. And I'm at a breaking point. Like I can't continue to sustain my life this way. So after having a conversation with my spouse, we both came to the conclusion, you have to just quit your job and like go for it. So I quit my job about 7 months ago, which was super scary because he almost got fired like the same day I quit my job. So like that was really nuts. It all worked out. He still has his job. So yeah, now I'm in a co-working space. I just moved in this week and, things are going really good. So that's kind of what's been happening.
That's awesome. And there's like a whole lot to unpack there. And I like that you basically had a side hustle, but you also just focused on like one thing at a time. Like you said, you took one course, you learned it, you kind of added that to your wheelhouse, and then you went on. So it sounded like your corporate background and some of the, did you say law?
Yeah. So
Well? Okay.
I was a receptionist at first. So I was scooping ice cream like when I was 16. Got really tired of that, obviously, because it's minimum wage.
Yeah.
Went into real estate, did that for about 2 years, then became a receptionist. Then worked for a law office as a paralegal. So that's like the stepping stone I did there.
That's pretty crazy. So none of that really lent itself to digital marketing, but on the side you were pursuing, like you said, the YouTube and some of the Instagram and the social media stuff.
Yeah, so I had seen people making money, beauty vloggers, they'll just sit there talking about like the new products they bought. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, so I could go buy a mascara for like $5 and make like 20 per thousand views. In my mind, I thought that would
Mhm.
work. So I bought like this huge iMac and I bought like $800 camera to like do this whole thing, put myself into debt, just to kind of, launch that dream, which eventually I was like, this is not panning out the way I thought it would. I made like $80 in the span of like 2 years. So
That's a
definitely
hard kind of,
hard work.
yeah, that's like definitely the long term kind of game plan. Unless you got started on YouTube like 10 years ago, it's kind of
Exactly.
hard to break into. So you mentioned getting started with funnels. Did you originally start with ClickFunnels as your first landing page builder?
No, so actually, I had lead pages before
Mhm.
that, and just because it was affordable, I couldn't wrap my head around the coding. Being a funnel builder, you do need to know codes, but to start off, like I just wanted like a drag and drop
Mhm.
thing to build in like a couple minutes, duplicate it for each client, kind of thing. So I kind of grew into that. So it was lead pages. Didn't really use it that much. I just had like one cheat sheet for like an Instagram hashtag, something like that, to like
Mhm.
start getting traction. Then I decided to move it to Squarespace, started fiddling around with that. I'm like, you
Mhm.
know what the heck? I'm just gonna go with the big dogs and like just
Mhm.
figure out how to make the money to pay that back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I think we started with Unbounce and lead pages a little bit, and after messing around with ClickFunnels, it's like, yeah, you just got to find a way to pay for it because it's
Exactly.
the simplest, but also like the most powerful. Everything is. I mean, it's pretty much got everything you need within it, or if you, especially if you add Actionetics.
Definitely.
Um, so as far as your agency, did you start off with a team, or was it just you? And have you expanded since then?
So it started off with just me, and I currently don't have a team per se. Like I have a VA who handles Facebook group management, and a VA who does like my prospecting for me. So
Mhm.
pulling emails, figuring out all their platforms. So that's kind of like more manual work that I have her
Mhm.
doing right now. Aside from that, like it's just me doing all the day-to-day work, so like the funnel
Mhm.
building and stuff like that. I will be expanding soon, just because it's getting to the point of like I'm not going to stay here till like 9 just doing funnels. So I'm going to be eventually hiring.
So being able to expand out, that's always a tough place to be when you can do it all. And like it's
Yeah,
definitely in your wheelhouse, but trying to decide, well, I can do it, but should I do it? Is that the best use of my time right now?
exactly. So when you start getting to that tipping point where you're like, I'm doing just a lot of admin work, and what else could I be using my time more wisely? Even cleaning the house or doing laundry, like outsource that stuff because I'll give you more time to actually build your empire.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that from working the 9 to 5 because like I only had 2 hours of like awake time before I started dozing off, and like I also need to pay attention to my husband and
Mm-hmm.
be social. So I can't be a hermit. So
Yeah.
I had to make sure like when I came home, maybe on the train ride home, I would write down like, schedule an appointment with this person, write
Mm-hmm.
invoice to this person, follow up with this one. Like making a to-do list for yourself is really key, and having that always present. So it's easy to just like scroll on Facebook. I still do it. I'm still a victim of scrolling on Facebook for hours on end, trying to figure out like what you're supposed to do next.
Mm-hmm.
But if you already have like your brain dump and like all that information out there, you're like, okay, let me just pull from that reservoir
Mm-hmm.
of things that I need to accomplish and then just get it done.
It's also, it makes it a little less overwhelming because if you even in like putting it in funnel terms, okay, build a funnel. There's like so many little pieces. If you just look at the overall picture, like you got to come up with the lead magnet, you kind of come up with the offer, you got to design all the pages, link everything. Then you start looking at Facebook ads and the traffic and all this stuff, and it's like, oh, but if you just start, make a list of everything that has to be done, and then yeah, just pick one and just slowly try and like knock through them.
Yeah. So my advice to that is don't try to build like your system before you even get a client. Like the best way to learn is get the client, figure out like what are the things that you need, create your onboarding documents from that. So if you find that you're repeating yourself on these calls,
Mm-hmm.
I need your logo. I need your branding colors. I need a headshot of you. I need like 4 pieces of information that are relevant to what they want to do, like a highlight reel or whatever, testimonials. So like by having a process, like you're talking to someone and you're figuring out like, these are the things I need, write that down and then turn that into an SOP, like the standard operating procedure, where, you know, you could hire that out eventually if you start scaling and have an onboarding assistant help you with that. So it's not you being the bottleneck and you as a CEO doing like chief everything officer. Like you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to step away, have, you know, your lieutenants and your people kind of managing it for you, but you're never going to get that done if you can't like take all that information out of your head first.
Yeah. I love that, being able to systemize it, and then you can scale and outsource, and yeah, you're no longer the bottleneck.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack for just a minute, because some of these guys and gals we have in the group are really new to the overall thing. So if you could, how would you describe a funnel to someone who doesn't understand what a funnel is?
Sure. So I actually had a workshop previously, so I can actually share my screen.
Oh, excellent.
Kind of walk you through. So I'll just skip down my intro here because we already discussed this. But a sales funnel is like having a 24/7 sales rep on your team. Does all the lead prospecting for you, so it leaves you time with other aspects of your business. So literally you can wake up to discovery calls and payment notifications once you've implemented this into your business. So like for example, if you have a profile funnel, which is something else we could talk about, and you have a call to action for a scheduler, so book a free 15-minute consultation by clicking this link, then you could wake up with people finding you through different media outlets like Facebook, Instagram, and scheduling time with you, which has happened, and it's pretty awesome when that does happen. So a sales funnel is basically 4 steps here. So your first key step here is your awareness. So this is where there's a lot of people towards the top, and through your marketing efforts, your prospects are finding, you know, you organically or you through your paid actions like your ads, and they're now aware of your brand and the services that you provide. Then the next is your leads. So this is where they're introduced to your lead magnet, which is what this workshop's about, and they decide whether or not they want to receive value from you. And this is, you know, more of what we're going to be talking about. So prospects is at the next stage where you're nurturing them, you're giving them more value, whether it be on email, content, videos, and then you could eventually present them with a paid offer. And then sales is where you would, you know, make the sale, and then you continue to build a community of people that will continue to buy from you. You know, this could turn into a membership site, a loyalty program, affiliate sales, and a lot more. Now that you have people that know, like, and trust you, it's a lot easier to have those conversions happen for you. So this is what a sales funnel actually looks like, not just an inverted triangle, but you have your paid traffic towards the top. So whether it be Facebook, Google, etc., or your free traffic, so Twitter, you know, Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram. I point to 2 different locations. I like to think of an opt-in page kind of outside of your blog or website. It could be in your blog or website, but websites to me kind of encompass like just all your stuff into one place. So you have like your home page, your services page, your about me page, your contact page. Like there's a lot of pages for people to kind of get lost in. But an opt-in page is really like streamlined. You only have 2 options. Either you download, you get information from me by putting in your name and email, or you leave the page without taking action. So that's why they're different. Then, you know, depending on what they do here, you take them to the email nurture sequence, which you introduce yourself, you're telling a little bit about your story, walking them through the objections that they might have of buying something from you, also educating them on why they might need it. And then, you know, towards the end, you hit them with the paid offer, right? You're not going to do that in the first email because it's like a first date. You're not going to say, will you marry me? Like you're actually courting this person, and they're not going to just want to buy from you right away either. So that's where the nurture sequence comes in, and then you would go with the sales page and eventually your paid product.
So at that point there, if I could just hop in for a second,
yep.
After the first email sequence, you know, you've got your autoresponder to a paid offer. At that point, if they don't take it, do you drop them into another email sequence, or do you do daily emails after that point?
Yeah, definitely. So with a tool like ActiveCampaign, it's definitely easy to set those kind of sequences up,
Mm-hmm.
because once they're done with that first sequence, you could tag them with yes, buy, or no.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really simple to do. You could just have, let's say, your sales page, and someone buys something from your sales page. It will tag them with buyer and then remove them from the rest of the sequences that they would get following. So you're not seeing, the same course being advertised to you if you already bought. That would be really annoying and frustrating. So that is really key to do, and that's easy to do with ActiveCampaign. I believe it's $9 a month to get started for 500 email contacts.
Okay, awesome.
So for those of you that don't know what a lead magnet is, this might be a new term, but a lead magnet is a piece of valuable content that you would offer in a prospect in exchange for their contact information. So you could call them freebies, opt-ins, bait. I really like this for growing your email list, and I do this for my clients as well when we have a strategy session. So the nature of the content will appeal to your ideal customer, and it's irresistible to them because it meets their needs. And it works especially well for online entrepreneurs and e-commerce businesses. So think of a lead magnet as like let's say an e-commerce business, it would be like a 10% off discount or something like that. So it's the same kind of concept. So why do you need one? Basically, algorithms, they're the bane of our existence. We're always trying to figure out like what's the new algorithm. They're not always playing in our favor. They're not always playing nice to us. So even though social media is a great way to communicate, we can't depend on these platforms to work in our favor. And when our organic reach decreases, on Facebook business pages, it's been happening. It's really hard for us as business owners to broadcast our message. So emails, on the other hand, are not dependent on this. And let's say if Facebook, Instagram, Twitter were to disappear tomorrow, it's like the apocalypse. You'll still have your email list, and you'll be able to still make money from your email list if you're focusing on growing that from the beginning. So also you want to nurture your leads. I've seen this time and time again where you have a lead magnet and then you just stop talking to them after you deliver it. But really, lead magnets are for you to collect, and then your next step is to continue to build and provide them value with emails, maybe 4 times a week. And the most successful online marketers really understand that this is where the majority of their purchases come from. Nurtured leads make 47% larger purchases than non-nurtured leads. Because if you just have a lead magnet and you're like, I've never talked to you for like 6 months, and I just say, hey, I like just release this like course, I'm in the middle of a launch, they'll be like, who are you? So you want to make sure that that's something that you continuously do. So lead magnets are a way to educate your audience and nurture them for the future sales of your products. Now, it's like this. So let's say you have an Amazon store that sells dog products. So like the people that are in that community own dogs. So you're not going to go and say like how to grow a plant farm or something like that, like how to grow tomatoes. No one cares, because that's not the same demographic that you have in your current store. So you want to make sure that the lead magnet is applicable to whoever's downloading it. So my number one rule in developing a lead magnet is it must give value. And this is not a lead magnet. So I see all the time, sign up for our newsletter. That does not give any value. I don't know what your newsletter is about. It could be a whole bunch of like nonsense in there. I really want to know what it's solving for me. So the headline is really supposed to be clear here. So the type of lead magnets that do work is having an ask campaign first. So you don't really know what your audience wants until you ask them. So when I created this workshop, I asked my audience on Facebook, I have a Facebook group, and I asked them, what would you like to learn about? Like, what's your number one issue with sales funnels? So that was my question. What is your number one struggle? And I don't know where to start, organized process. So that's why I created this workshop. I didn't create it out of thin air. I didn't think like, oh, maybe I think it's valuable, so other people, like the masses, are going to agree with me. So that's why I did that. Now you don't want to assume, and maybe I could have did a workshop about selling jewelry because that's what I used to do, just to hear crickets. So you want to make sure that they're interested as well. And Tony Robbins said it perfectly: fall in love with your customer, not your product. Because if we're in love with our customer, whatever they want to hear, that's what we're giving to them. If I'm infatuated with my product, I'm married to it, I'm never going to change. And that's why brands like Blockbuster are no longer around, because they refuse to listen to the demands of people. They actually said, oh, people love the serendipity of like walking into their neighbor in a store while buying tapes. No one like, where did you get that information, right? Yeah. So they did not do the ask method properly. And that's why Netflix was able to swoop up the market share. So if you are unsure of looking spammy in other people's groups, you can simply do a search in a Facebook group that has a topic and just read through the threads. Maybe you don't have your own group. You don't want to just drop those annoying posts like, I'm just doing a poll and a survey, like, because sometimes they'll delete you for that. So you just, search in the search bar for your topic, and then you could see a whole bunch of threads that come up, and there's going to be common themes that happen in those threads. So once you figured out what other people consider to be valuable, then you need to figure out what format you want to present this information to them, because there's different formats that we'll talk about, and not everyone will respond the same way. So PDFs are really like the number one way. Cheat sheets, checklists, templates, ebooks, toolkits, video, we make them inspirational, educational, entertaining for people. Video is really on the up and up, because people just want something quick to consume while they're cooking, while they're driving, and that's really what's been helping them grow. Discounts for e-commerce, so free plus shipping, percentage off. I've also seen free mini courses and quizzes do really well as well. So let's say you have a course on how to teach people how to run a better webinar. So some ideas you could do is how to create a webinar in 60 minutes, even if you don't have a topic. The checklist format would be the top 5 things you need to prepare before going live on your first webinar. Template would be grab my free plug and play webinar template, slides and scripts included. And the resource guide toolkit, my ultimate toolkit to creating and running your own profitable webinar series. So the action item here would be to just pick one lead magnet that you will begin crafting. And this is from my workshop, so no shameless plugging here, but this was for my funnel and grind group that I did. So basically, if you are a new, I'll come back here, let me come back. So if you are a new funnel builder, then this is a really great place for you to learn for yourself. If you're still working your 9 to 5, you have time to kind of kill. Look on ClickFunnels website. They do have templates for you where you could just drag and drop, put in your topic in there, start collecting leads. I collected leads before I even had anything to sell. So, and also growing my Facebook group as well. So what I would say is learn, start growing your own list. And that way, when people say, well, what experience do you have? Like, why should I hire you? Then you could say, well, my conversion rates are 75%. I make a really killer design. Here it is. So that way you have something in your portfolio. The number one thing that I always hear is like, who's going to hire me if I've never had a client before? You're your own client. Treat yourself as your client. When I started in social media management, I literally had 0. Like, I just had my own Instagram and Facebook account. And I showed that. I'm like, this is my client. This is what I did for that. Like, that's how you got to just start out. So it's still showing that you knew and you were competent enough to grow those accounts. So it wasn't like you're just making up and like pulling things off the internet and claiming them as your own. Like, that's actually your effort that you did that. So that would be my number one advice, would be start off with your own projects. Tinker around with the program. They do have a 14-day free trial as well. So that is something to take advantage of, and, figure out a way to pay for it, because it's definitely going to boost your ROI. Like, every single person that I talk to wants a ClickFunnels account. Like, they want their funnel built on that. They don't want anything else. Sorry, Instapage and all those other things, but That's what I hear the most. So I give them what they want.
Mm-hmm. And then also you can niche down yourself and become known as a ClickFunnels expert, and you can have your own templates and swipes and everything in there. So it's even easier going forward. But we've had a lot of our students who kind of try to DIY it with Wix or Squarespace, and ultimately they either don't have great success, or they're not happy with it, or they want to do something that they either require custom code, or they just, Wix can't just straight up just can't do it. So yeah, we always try to get them on ClickFunnels. Big, huge fans. For those who are wanting to go into, I really love the advice of just getting started and using yourself as a test subject. So that way you have something to show, because that is the biggest, that's the number one thing in our group too. It's, how do I get started? Why would anybody hire me? But getting started just so you can show that you know what you're talking about at least a little bit. Even just that little bit will get you, your foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think are the most important skills for a funnel builder? Because you've got the idea of design, the overall marketing strategy, the tech aspect of it. Is there a most important skill, or is it just being kind of a jack of all trades?
So what I feel helped me a lot was watching other funnels. So in the industry, they call it funnel hacking, and just understanding how their psychology worked. So maybe downloading a bunch of lead magnets or watching different webinars to see their sequences, understanding why they did the things that they did. So that way, when I get a new niche, I know already how to kind of proceed with that. And then you start seeing, okay, well, I worked with all these different niches to start. Now I know I just want to stick to one and really scale that, because it's hard to, I forgot who said it. I watched it this morning. Perry, the guy who does like Medea, Tyler Perry.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was thinking Perry Marshall. Yeah, no, Tyler Perry.
So he was like, let's say you're a gardener and you're really trying to grow all your plants, and you have like a row of like 6 plants, and you're trying to water each one. But instead of watering those 6, you don't have enough water to provide to all those for those to actually grow. So by focusing on the one and having that bloom, then you'll have more of a success rate by just focusing on one plant. And you could translate that how you want to. But the way that I see it is, and my light kind of turned off. Hopefully it's not too dark. Let me get up. Okay. So the way that I started off, I did real estate, chiropractors, like everything that the masses do. And now I see, okay, well, I can't continue to do that because I'm known as a jack of all trades. I'm a generalist.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go to a heart surgeon, or if you need heart surgery, you would go to a heart surgeon. You wouldn't go to the general practitioner, pediatrician. Like, you wouldn't do that. You would go to the specialist. So that's the way that we need to see our business as well, is be known for that one thing. And then eventually, if you wanted to, you could like grow a whole nother team for the next thing. But, the only way to grow is by having consistency, also having your systems in place, because it's so much easier to just have that one funnel that people are buying into your program. It's not just like a commodity anymore. It's a program that's worked and it's efficient. And now they're not going to sit there and tinker like, oh, let's change this and that. It's like, no, you're buying into this. It's worked for other people. So if we start messing around, then it loses its value. But if you're doing it for everyone, then you're recreating the wheel for every single niche, and you're just driving yourself deeper into a hole. So that's kind of my advice. And I forgot the question, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It was a few minutes ago. We brought up another question. So, I mean, you lightly touched on this. Do you think that people should try building for different niches and then kind of going deep on what they like, or kind of picking from the beginning, I'm going to develop funnels for X niche?
You could really go at it both ways. I think a lot of people just do everything because that's what we've kind of been taught to do. But if you already have experience with something, then I would probably just go towards that one thing and then start there. You'd probably have more success than the people that are like, I'm going to do 15 different niches, and like, depending on like if Susie wants to sign on, I'll add a 16th one, like it shouldn't be that way. It should just be like, this is what I do, and you're known for that. So an example of that is when I did social media management, like I was never tagged in any posts on Facebook. I was never shouted out for like my abilities in knowing social media, like other people were, like the bigger people. So when I started focusing on funnels and I created my Facebook group, like I changed my tagline to like the funnel strategist and stuff like that. I was starting to get more tags and more recognition, more interviews, all those things. So by having that specialty, not just being, I know everything about everything, that's when people start to recognize you and point you, refer business to you, and you could start growing that way.
No, that's perfect. And I think it helps with the perception as being an expert in that one thing. But then, like you were saying, it also helps the practitioner because every time you go into a new niche, there's a tax. So you have to research, you have to learn, see what other people are doing. So it's starting from scratch every single time, as opposed to you just know you're already at this level every single time you bring on a new client.
So, like you already did the research for the first 6 clients that you had. You already know the market's pain points. Like you already know the copy's dialed in. You might even have the same funnel and templates. All they need to do is change the name of like the doctor or the gym owner and plug that in. Like I've seen so many agencies just do killer with that. Like going from like 0 to 2 million in a year just by dialing it into like one thing. Like if you have a doctor's office and then you have like 2 categories down, like having that niche, the sub niche, like that would be like the sweet spot because like you're the go-to for that area. Like you know exactly how many leads you're going to get each month. I could confidently say, if I don't get you 30 leads by the end of the month, you'll get the next month for free. But it's not like, oh crap, I really need to hustle. It's like, no, I know for a fact that I'm going to get them 70 leads because that's what everyone in their market does. So there's no reason why I can't do that for that doctor. And that's level of confidence that shows when you're doing your sales conversations. Because if they just hear a little bit of hesitancy, they'll say like, I don't know if I could put my hard-earned money into someone that doesn't really know.
Yeah, for sure. I could see that definitely helping with the sales conversation because we won't really dive into sales, but confidence, like knowing that you can do something because you've actually done it, it comes across in the way you present yourself, the way you speak, everything. Like people can tell the BS radars like are pretty good. And so if you've like maybe done it or you watched a webinar about, local lead gen or something for chiropractors, for example, that was really hot 6-8 months ago. If you saw somebody else do it and then they ask you, well, how many leads do you normally get? It's like, well, I mean, it depends. And it's like, no, we need like hard evidence that you've done it, that you're able to replicate it then for us.
Yeah, because they have a sales team, hopefully. They want to know how many calls they need to be on, how much they need to like pay their staff, how many clients do they need per month to actually make back your management fee. Those are all things that come up after you make your pitch. So it's good to know that ahead of time because it'll blindside you for sure. Like, because you could just say, oh, I charge $3,000 a month for management. And they're like, okay, so I need like 15 people a month to just pay that back. So can you do that? Can you like actually do plus 15 because we need to make a profit from this? And you're like, maybe, I don't know. You're like, that doesn't fly. So that's why it's really key to dial it in first.
I think it might have been Landon Porter that mentioned recently that if he's an expense, then he's not doing something right. So if you come at it from that angle, how can I have them make my fee and then more right off the bat so that it's not, how am I going to pay this guy? It's, I don't care to pay this guy $5,000 because he's bringing in an extra 10.
Yeah, exactly. And I heard it yesterday that someone did like a year-long program because we don't want to call it just like a funnel. It's a program that you're buying into. So he had everyone sign up for 12 months, and like I think 2 out of 10 people canceled after the year, and they tried to do it themselves. They're like, I could do this, and then they came back like a month later. It's like, no, like you need to come back. So like that's what you want. Like that's really the goal here. It's not just like how many clients can I get in a year. It's like how many can I retain? How many want me to stick around and like be part of their profit and loss statement, being profitable.
To be able to build that relationship from a personal side, but then also seeing the numbers that, I mean, your ROI is there. They're very happy to keep you on month after month because you're earning your keep. And I don't know, it's just so important in the long run because it's nice to have clients that come back to you month after month. It's nice to have them on retainer, or they just do launches every 3 or 4 months. Where my wife and I build a lot of funnels, we don't have retainer clients, but we have a lot that come about every 3 months to launch a new course or a new product. And so it's nice to have that ongoing. You can, almost like clockwork, they're going to come back around in a few months because what they got the last time. We're not just trying to get their money and then, kind of hit the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is so big too with, so I know that you're a funnel builder. There's people out there who can do it cheaper. Mm-hmm. There may be people who can do it quicker, but because you've got your name all over your branding, you're very much tied to it. And so I think that also helps give some confidence with what you do, that you have to provide a really good product, ongoing support, because it's literally your reputation and integrity on the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So your comment about like someone could do it cheaper, that's when you start going into the commodity part, because it's like when you go to Walmart, right? You're just buying whatever brand is out there. But when you go to like Gucci, Giorgio Armani, those types of brands, like there's no other brand that I'm going to shop for if it's just that I want to get. So it's that difference. You have your Fruit Loop branding, and then you have like your Loop Fruits.
Yeah.
Like people don't care if the taste the same, it's the same sugar content. Like I'm going to buy the cheaper one. So what we want to do is set ourselves apart, and the branding is key as well. Like having your reputation, keep itself year after year, not tarnishing, but also delivering valuable information and like really great work. So, you can hire someone from Upwork for like, I don't know, $100. I'm just making this up to like build a funnel, but it's not going to get integrated. It's not going to actually look good. So by hiring someone that has seen thousands of funnels, like you study this, it's an art form to you. Like you watch webinars just to watch them on your free time. Like it's like an obsession at one point. So when you hold those two side by side, you're like, do I want to pay $100, which is just like the startup fee, because God knows how long I'm going to have to like sit here hour after hour, like revising things, telling them to change things? Or do you want the person that's going to have like maybe one revision and like hit out the park and it converts? What would you rather do? So by just having those conversations with people, like if they start haggling you on prices, like cool, you could go to Upwork and good luck with that. You'll be right back. Yeah. So it's just having, again, the confidence to know your worth and not kind of like yourself be haggled down.
I've noticed this trend with designers as well, having them on the show and talking, because the tools are becoming more ubiquitous. I mean, people can use Canva, people can use Adobe, they can slap things together, but still the difference in a real designer with decades of experience and someone who can use the tools, it's like night and day. It's the same way somebody who really understands, not just I can put an opt-in page in front of a thank you page. It's I understand how this offer is going to work with your overall marketing strategy, with your email and your back end, all that stuff together. That's what makes the difference. It's not just doing the colors and, putting your button here and kind of like cobbling it together.
Yeah. Like I have spent countless amounts of hours doing it myself, like on Canva, as you said. When I first started, I was bootstrapped, but then I figured out like, okay, if I could just hire someone to make a template for me, like let's just start there. And then I paid them the X amount of money to do that. And then I felt really comfortable that I'm like, okay, when I know that I'm going to get my branding correct and I'm not going to have to change it 5 times over again, like I have been with Canva, because it's so easy to do, then I know it's going to be worth my time. Right. So that kind of ties into the people that would rather do it themselves. Like I know when I do things myself, for me, like I will sit there changing fonts and like the heights of the fonts and like positioning, like I just waste so much time. But when it's for someone else, or when someone's working for me, I know that it's just like it's done correctly and it's not like fidgeted around, So that's kind of like the coin to toss there.
Yeah, kind of the trade-off you deal with. So I know before we started recording, you mentioned that you had a lead magnet that our audience could check out. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So let me see if I could share my screen again. Oh, we got a neighbor here. Okay, so this is the lead magnet here, and it's basically like a summary of the workshop that I did. Why are you building out your lead magnet? You're
Mhm.
brainstorming ideas, writing down your copy, what kind of type that you would like to choose. Also, your headlines as well. Addressing, so I do like optimization checklists. So these are the 7 points. Only addressing one pain point. You don't want to kind of go overboard and like go all over the place because it turns into like a really long ebook.
Mhm.
Is it something that your ideal client will love? What's the end result? Is it super specific? Easy and quick to read, watch, listen to. Showcases your expertise and establishes trust. Addresses any doubts or fears a potential customer might have, and it passes the "it's so good I paid for this" test. So that is that. Then I kind of talk about what are some of the suggestions here. So we talked about, if you want to keep bootstrapping it for now, your
Mhm.
website works, lead pages, Instapage, or ClickFunnels is my recommendation there. Email providers, you could do free, which is MailChimp, and then paid is ActiveCampaign or
Mhm.
ConvertKit is good. And let me see. Then I always talk about delivery emails. So here's your download and the name of the download, and then the body of the email would just be like, "Thank you for downloading XYZ. Click the button below to confirm your subscription and download XYZ." So that's really key because they will email you back and say, "I didn't get my
Mhm.
download," really quickly. So yeah, that's kind of what is in the lead magnet workbook, which will be included as well for you guys.
Okay, awesome. Steph, this has been fantastic just to kind of dive into funnels and go through the whole presentation. That's I know for the guys in our group, the gals in our group, that'll be super valuable starting out. So where can we find access to that and then also find out more about you and kind of what you offer?
Yeah, for sure. So the PDF should be somewhere down here or
Yeah.
to you. And then my the best way to contact me is through my free Facebook group. It's funnelandgrind.com or hashtag funnelandgrind on Facebook. And then it will lead you into the group. And yeah, that's kind of how you can get to know me a little bit more. I have a lot of free content in there. I do interviews as well. And we just like to give a lot of value in the group.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll include links to everything down below the video. And Steph, just thank you again for coming on and just sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.